Hey ladies, as most of you know, that since the 1st of July, Universal Analytics has been sunsetted. So in this demo, I'm just going to show you how you can actually set up GA4, which is the new one. Now, if you already had a UA property, which is the old one, Universal Analytics, then Google would have actually automatically created you one of these, and you will find it just within your Google Analytics account, and you will see the number is different, look. So the old Universal Analytics has UA at the beginning, and the GA4 ones just have a number like that. And I'm working in a demo account, so there's no data in here. I just use these for people in my programs, and I'm going to talk you through. So first of all, if you don't have any kind of Google Analytics account, just make sure you're logged into the Google account that you use for your business in your Google browser, in your Chrome browser or whatever, and just go to analytics.google.com. And then from there, it will prompt you to create an account, and you just follow the links. So in this demo, I'm not going to show you that in this demo because it's quite basic, and it's just going to take a bit of time. So I'm just going to show you how you actually want to configure it. And this is very important because if you don't configure it properly, there's not much point of having it there. So everything you need actually happens down here with this settings cog in admin. And I'll just quickly show you. So this is all about like your main account. So in my account, you can see I've got like my old business UA, my old business GA4. I've got another site and a few other sites, a few demo and test ones that I've done for demos over the year. And then within an account, you have properties, and that's what these are. These are all different properties. And what you're gonna be configuring is a Google Analytics 4 property, and it's gonna prompt you to do that automatically, so you don't need to worry about it. So you can go through all of these one by one, but I'm just gonna show you the things that that are really important. So first of all, I would start in property settings and just make sure you've given it a name that reflects your business. Make sure you've chosen the right category for it. Make sure you've got the right reporting time and the currency that you want to be using in your business. So if you look at the setup assistant, it's going to show you things like this. And do you know what? They've actually changed this database so much over the last, it's been around for over a year now, but they keep adding stuff, and it is getting better. So first of all, these are the things that Google wants you to look at, basically. So data collection. So if you click this little arrow here, and do manage data streams, and that's down here. Basically, the only reason it's got lots of streams is for your apps. So if you've actually got phone apps, you can track them as well in the same Google Analytics property. But if you've not got a data stream here, it should prompt you to set it up when you create your account. But if not, you just do add stream, and it's going to be web. For your website, it's going to be web. I'm just going to say yes for now, and I'm going to close it. And all you do when you create this is you add your URL. Make sure you choose the one with the S there because it's secure. Add your website name, call it the name of your website, and just make sure that all of these are ticked because you want to track all of these things automatically. So when people go do things on with forms, with videos, do stuff with files, search on your website, scroll, click links, and obviously what pages they view. So I'm just going to close that. And I'm going to go into this. So this is all looking pretty scary right now. So the first thing I'm going to actually tell you to look at, well, the first thing should probably be to actually get it set up. So if you click on this one, view tag instructions, whatever platform you're using for your website will determine how you do this. But you can, let's just give that. This is actually new. That's quite interesting. Let's see what happens here. But otherwise, if you've got a code here, and you just get this code, and you copy it, and you paste it into the header of your website, and there'll be somewhere for you to do that. If you're using a platform like Wix, Kajabi, anything else, it's going to have a Google Analytics 4 integration, and you just copy and paste this little number where it needs to go. Or if you're kind of more serious and you want total control over things, then you can use what's called Google Tag Manager. And this is actually what I use. So I'll just show you. Just get rid of this. I don't want it to open a client's account. What Tag Manager does is it allows you to do really good tracking. So if I open like this demo one, all you do to install GA4 is you create a tag. So these are tags, and you create a tag. I'll show you it from scratch. So you tap on that and you choose GA4 configuration, and then you copy and paste that number, this one, into there. And it triggers on all pages. So you put the number in there, do that, you call it, and then I will just paste that in there. So I'll just show you properly. Call it that, save. And that looks scary, but that is all you need to do. And then you hit submit and you publish it. You give it a name if you want to. I go by the number up here. I mean, Google Tag Manager is awesome because you can track everything in the same place, and then you hit publish. It means you don't have to have loads of different code on your website. You know, like if you're using Kartra and Kajabi and you've got to add loads of different tracking on every single page individually because it's like a really bad user experience. I think that's Kartra, not Kajabi, excuse me. But yeah, so basically you just need to make sure you get it installed. If you're not sure, ask your web developer, and let's just see. Yeah, so it's got all these actually. So if you want to just do it directly from here, which is the simple way, you can just choose, like if you're using Wix, you can just choose Wix, and it tells you how to do it. So it's, see what else they've got. So they've got WooCommerce, Wix, Squarespace, Shopify. Yeah. So you can do it that way as well. And if you're using something you don't know how, like if you're using WordPress, you can just install a header post footer injections plugin. Check you've not already got one, because your developer probably put one in there anyway. And then that's like you set up. And if you do choose to do it this way, instead of directly through Google Analytics 4, then to install it, all you do is you click on this code here and you copy that into the head of your website and you copy that into the body tag. Depending on what platform you use, it will be slightly different. For example, with Kartra, you have to remove where it says script here. And for Kajabi, you can set it at the website level, so you can do it in your main website settings. So it's a bit better with Kajabi. With WordPress, you need to use that header, body, and footer, code injection plugins, and so on. So just whatever platform you're using, just try it that way. And some of them have integrations. Some of them charge extra for integrations as well. Some of them have Google Tag Manager, but then they make you upgrade to use it. For example, Wix, you have to pay more to use Google Tag Manager. So it might be best for you to just use Google Analytics 4. But if you do this, you do not need to add the Google Analytics code. You only add this, and then the Google Analytics code gets installed directly by this platform, basically. But if you want to do it the other way, then just forget about Google Tag Manager and ignore anything I say about Google Tag Manager, because it might just overcomplicate things. So the next important thing that you want to do is down here in configure tag settings. You want to configure your domains here, because what we're doing here is we're telling it to track anything that matches these conditions. So let's just say that you're using Kartra, Kajabi, Teachable, Thrivecart, anything like that, and you're not using a custom domain. So a custom domain would be like, rather than it being like, kcmarketingcreations.thrivecart.com, I use checkout.kcmarketingcreations.com. But if you're not, if you're using other things and you've got links that actually have any other domains in there, you need to add it in there. So you would have, for example, and then that means it would also track everything that happened in Teachable. So just look at all the domains you're using. Maybe you've got Calendly, maybe you've got a Calendly link, and you want to have tracking on there, and you've set up your tracking on there, but it's not going to show in here unless you actually put it in here. So just make a list of all of your domains, and I always like to use big contains rather than begins with, ends with, or exactly matches, because if people click your link from like Facebook, it's going to add a tracking link at the end, so it's not going to be exactly what your link is. And sometimes it's going to have www at the beginning, sometimes it's going to have m dot at the beginning, sometimes it could have different things. So here just make sure you've got all the domains that you want to be able to track traffic that go between, because otherwise, as soon as they leave your actual main website to go to, say, your checkout or your course software, they're not going to be able to see it. So I'm just going to discard that. Now, another one, and this is really, really important if you want to know what's performing well. Click on Show All here, and then here where it says List Unwanted Referrals, here what you want to do is write everywhere that you don't want it to show as they're responsible for the sale. So paypal.com, stripe.com, Thrivecart. You don't even have to put the .com, just put their name, just put the name in there, like, so that, because otherwise if someone purchases and they go on your website and then they go to PayPal to complete their purchase, then they go back to your website, Google is going to give PayPal the credit for that purchase, whereas they might have actually clicked from Facebook prior to that, but it's going to show as PayPal. So what we're doing in here is we're putting the things that we don't want Google to say gets credit for the sale because you sent them to that place, you know, because the way Google does it is it takes the penultimate place they were before when they purchased. So it was the last touch point they had before the purchase, which is often PayPal, Stripe, Thrivecart, Kartra, Kajabi, you know. So make sure you add whatever platforms you're using, Google Pay, Apple Pay, you know. And, you know, if you can't think of them all now, that's fine, but I'll show you how you can actually see them later on. So inside your reports, in acquisition here, and then traffic acquisition, or it could be like under conversions and so on. So in here, look, this is saying referral. So I'm actually going to add another layer here which says session medium, and that's just coming up as referral as well. Okay, so it's not actually going to tell me what that referral is. Let me just have a look. Okay, so this is saying that I got a user from backend.memberships.apisystem.tech. That means absolutely nothing to me, so I don't care about that. I'm not going to block it. But let's, for example, if that had said, you know, from PayPal, then, and I know that I don't want to block it. So you can basically source and medium. So source just means the place they came from, and medium means like the thing. So for example, if I'm running Google ads, the source is Google and the medium is CPC. And if people find you from Google Organic, so if they search for you on Google and find you, then the source is going to be Google, but the medium is going to be organic. So that's what source and medium means. And then, like, you know, later on, once you've got conversion set up and so on, then what you actually do is you look at where the conversions came from, because then you can see how well things are performing. So I'm not going to go into actually setting up like conversions because it's quite advanced, and I actually use Google Tag Manager for this. There is more Google Tag Manager training on my YouTube channel as well. It's old, but Google Tag Manager hasn't changed in like 5 years, so don't worry. So where were we? So data streams. So I'm just going to quickly have a look at this. So when you can actually create as many events as you want here, and what you do, so let's just say, and it gives you their standard event names. So let's just say generate lead. You wanna show that a lead has been generated when the page location is, and then you would put your thank you page on here. So the thank you page of that. So that's a really basic way to do it. So obviously, you know, you've got your landing page, your thank you page, and then add the thank you page here. And then whenever someone sees a thank you page, it gets triggered as generate lead. And you could do the same thing for purchase, and you do that on your purchase thank you page. You add it there. So you can save as many of these as you want. And that's a really basic way to do it. And you can search by lots of other things as well. Like, you know, you can search by, let's just have a look. you can search by value, if you can set it so that if the value of something comes in and it's higher than a certain amount, then it gets, then an event name could be like high ticket. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't personally do that myself. The things I track are landing page view, landing page click, form submit, lead generated for like lead magnet funnels. Oh, and then thank you page actions. I like to track what they do on a thank you page. But I do all these in Google Tag Manager, like I said. I don't like to do things directly in here. Because in Google Tag Manager, when you set up your triggers, which is basically the thing that happens, so the trigger will be they viewed my thank you page. So just an example. So you just click on that page view, some page views, and then you just say page URL, and then you put your thank you page here. And that is the trigger for generate lead. But then what I can then do is create a Google Analytics tag for generate lead. I can add a Facebook pixel tag for generate lead. I can add a ManyChat tag for lead, and Active Campaign. You can create multiple tags for one trigger, whereas if you did it this way, you would then also have to go into Facebook and like set up the whole trigger, the whole conversion again. You'd have to use every individual platform on its own. Whereas Google Tag Manager, you just create one set of triggers, and then you can send the tags to all your platforms with minimal effort. And that's why it's so beneficial to do it that way. But I know it took me a good while. I'm not gonna lie, I first did this in 2017, and it took me a good while to get in my head what was the difference between a trigger and a tag. But a trigger is just the thing that pulls the trigger, the thing that makes this event fire. So when someone clicks something, when someone submits a form, when someone views a certain page, and then the tag is the event message that gets sent. So it's the event message that gets sent to Google Analytics to say, look, you've had a lead, and so on. I'll just show you. I'll show you something quickly in my account. So if I just go look at one of my funnels, so if I look at this one, fast-paced passive, you'll see in here. So down here you've got triggers and tags. So my triggers are sales page view, sales page click, begin checkout, purchase, bonus page view, and so on. And then I've got the GA4 events that got fired here. But then if I show you my Facebook one here, if you look at, for example, what do I want to show you? So if for example, generate lead, I've just got one tag for this, and then I've got multiple. Oh yeah, and I've got multiple triggers that go to that, or complete registration is probably a better example. These things. So these are all different funnels of mine, and when people complete registration, it sends that. But I only have to create these triggers once, and then I create GA4 tags, FB tags, and anything else, any other platforms I'm using, I can link them to that. So, I mean, that, like I said, it is a little bit advanced. You can do it in Google if you want to. Just keep it simple. But if you did want to learn more about that, it's a really, really powerful tool. So the next thing that you should look at configuring, and I'll just click out of here now. So obviously events, I've just shown you that, but when you've created an event, you can actually turn any of these into conversions. So once you've created your generate lead event and you've set it to fire on the thank you page, you have to wait 24 hours until it will actually show in here, and then you just do that to mark it as a conversion. And then it just means later, when you look at your conversions, you can see all of these. So the next thing I want to show you is your data settings. So under data collection here, it should flag that you actually need to do this. You need to activate Google Signals, and you need to tick a box to say that they're allowed to do that, basically. So this is in ads personalization. I'm just going to click apply, and just make sure so the user data collection has been acknowledged. It's hard for me to show you because I obviously did these when I set this one up and did the last demo, but just make sure you've ticked these on, and every time it comes up and says do you agree, you say yeah. The next one is data retention. And this by default will be set to 2 months, which means you only save the last 2 months, but you want 14 months. People will be in your world and in your funnel for a year before they purchase regularly. So make sure it's on there, hit save. These are all a little bit more advanced. Attribution sessions, data driven, that's fine, leave that on there. And then here, if you want to change this, you can, but this is like how long, if you're running an ad, so if you're running Facebook ad, Google ad, do you count it as a conversion event if they convert 30 days after seeing the ad? Or do you want to change it to 7 days? And other conversions, do you want to change it to 90 days, 60 days, or 30 days? I like to keep it on the highest amount, just because then at least I know if they've actually at some point seen an ad. Do you know what I mean? So I've got that information. And then down here, what you want to do is link up any products you've got. So Google Ads, if you've got a Google Ads account, link it up here. Google Search Console, this is a really, really great tool, and it allows you to see what people are doing what people are typing into Google to make your website show up organically. So link it up, and if you don't have that set up already, so you click choose accounts here, you can actually just click add a property here, and you can create a new property. And it will tell you how to do it. It will tell you how to verify it and stuff. It's different depending on what platform you use, but just make sure you've got Google Ads if you're doing that, and Search Console. And do you know what? Even if you're not planning on running Google Ads now, I highly recommend that you set this up, because then you're building an audience. And then if in 2 years time, you suddenly decide you want to run ads, then you're going to have loads of data there to use. It's a lot better than starting from scratch with no audiences, with no data for Google. Now, unless you've got Google Shopping, I don't recommend any of these. If you're doing Google Shopping, then you need that. And Google Optimize, that is to do A/B testing and stuff, to like test pages, to make changes. But to be honest, Google's getting rid of this in September. It's going to be in GA4. It's going to be in this platform directly somehow. So yeah, don't even worry about that either. So I mean, but those are the really important things that you need to make sure you've got set up. This is just how, if you want to add people to help you manage stuff, you can do that there. And yeah, so I think we've looked at all this. Let's just go back to the setup wizard. So Google Signals, that was down here in the data collection bit. So if that's not showing us on, then don't do it. Set up conversions, so you can do that when you create your events, and then you set up the ones that are conversions. And then if you want to create audiences, you can do that. You can actually import them from UA, but it's quite complex. But you can also create audiences. So what you might want to do is you want to create an audience and say, this audience is leads from X lead magnet. And then it's going to be I've not even got it in there. Oops. Yeah, because it doesn't exist for me. But you can do it on the page as well. So you can just say when the page location contains, and then you put the thank you page in here. So, you know, thank you lead magnet, but obviously just make sure that you put the right URL in there. And then you could change here. So do you want that to be a 30-day audience or max? And I'll put that in there, max duration, because you might want to create, different ones and so on. And then you just save that, and then that's an audience, right? And then later, when you want to run Google Ads, this audience is going to be available in Google Ads. So let's just go back to the setup the system. So let's just pretend I've done that. So once you've done these, by the way, you can just click mark as complete. I'm going to say, yep, I've done my conversions, mark that as complete. I've linked it to Google Ads, mark as complete. And then ignore these unless you're actually running Google Ads. And then down here, what have you got here? Yeah, these are all advanced, so you don't need to do any of these things. You can just, if you want to be OCD and get like Oh no, it's already marked it as complete, so that's fine. So yeah, that's it. Those are literally the things that you need to look at, the important things, and you will get used to it. This interface is changing all the time. But just to give you an idea, so here acquisition is basically where your users and traffic. So the difference between users and traffic is users are like when you get a new user, it's the first time they come to see you, and when you get traffic, a user might have come to your website already lots of times, but what drove the traffic this time? Was it Facebook? Was it Instagram? Make sure you've got those referrals set and those cross-domain tracking set so that you can always track where stuff comes from, really. And then engagement is the events, conversions, what pages and screens they look at, where did they enter your website on? And then obviously down here, you've got things like e-commerce. E-commerce is way too advanced to show on this, like how to set it up. And then down here, you've got retention, which is just, how many users actually come back and so on. And then in this explore bit over here, you can actually look at your funnels and how they perform. You can look at like paths. So what paths do people follow down after the first time they come to your website? So we've got people start a session and then they view a page. But if I change this to be the page title, I can see that 3 people have been to that page and then they've not been anywhere else after, But obviously this is a demo website. It's got nothing on here. But you can see where people go and you can look at the user journeys and you can look at things like how long are they spending in time, how long are they spending on different pages. And then down here under advertising, you can look at things like this. This is a really powerful tool, model comparison. What it does is, say you're running Google Ads, last click means it's the last place that people were that they clicked. So let's just say they did a Google search and they found your website, and then later they saw a Facebook ad from you, and then later they saw a Google ad from you, and on the Google ad they clicked and they purchased. So if you look at first click, that purchase would go to Google organic, and the last click would go to Google Ads. And then if you look at data driven, it's also going to give Facebook ads a percentage of that, because Facebook ads had a part to play. So that's the difference between these. It's just showing you like what actually happens, which of your marketing efforts really worked. And this is what conversion paths are. So it will show you, it will give you a list of like what paths were taken, for example, organic, Google ads, Facebook, email marketing, organic, Google ads, whatever paths people are taking. Then you can see what the most common paths are. You can see how many touch points there are normally before people convert. So, how many times do people actually how many people do actually contact your business or have an interaction with your business before they take an action? It's really important. And then what you can also see here is something called days to conversion, which tells you on average how many times it takes people to convert. So for one of my clients on here, I know that they touch about 7 times before they convert, and it's about 2 weeks. They're actually, bouncing around on the fence for about 2 weeks from when they come into the business to when they convert. And that's for one of my course creator clients, and we run Google ads for them and Facebook ads. Such a powerful tool if you really want to know what's working. So yeah, I hope that helped. Hopefully I've not completely blown your mind there by going on about Google Tag Manager, because I think that was a little bit unnecessary in hindsight. But it's good for you to know about it, and do check out my Google Tag Manager training in YouTube if you do want to know more about that. So yeah, if you've got any questions at all, just let me know. If you have any troubles with stuff, let me know and I will be happy to help you. And I really hope this helps.